Yeah, I know. 1-2-Switch isn't a good game. It's too expensive for the content featured in the game. Should have been free with the Switch since it's a tech demo. It feels like less content than Wii Sports. It requires two people making it not accessible to play. You can make your way through all the minigames in like an hour. $50 is just too much. Yada yada. I get it. I do get the complaints. But after having played this game, I can't lie and say that I didn't have fun with it, because I did. And I mean, there was clearly effort put into this game. It has a lot of personality and some pretty fun minigames. And the concept of a video game where you're not looking at the screen, but instead looking at the other people you're playing with is a really cool idea that I think the game does pretty well. So yes, while $50 is way too much for this game, I don't think it's a terrible game, and I think it's pretty good. Okay? So yeah, I know, don't hate on me in the comments, but it's an okay game. Okay, now we can start. Hi there, I'm a guy with a pineapple puppy, and today I'm ranking all 28 minigames in 1-2-Switch. And don't forget, my opinion is my opinion, and your opinion is different from mine. I don't know what the general rankings for these minigames are, so I may have a lot of unpopular opinions, so tell me in the comments what you think. Let's get rolling. Starting with what I believe to be the worst game, we have Sword Fight. You and your opponent each have 5 hearts, and you'll be striking vertically or horizontally to hit your opponent. You can guard to block strikes, but if you get hit, you lose a heart. The first player to lose all 5 hearts loses. It's a fun concept for a game, but the whole guarding system kind of ruins it for me. If the game would tell you when your opponent guarded a shot, like how Wizard tells you when your opponent counters, I think it would help a lot. Because when I played, I was super confused. It would feel random when we would lose hearts. It honestly would be more fun just to get sticks and have a fake sword fight like that. In Boxing Gym, you'll be told to either strike, uppercut, or hook. The player who reacts the fastest essentially lands a hit, and the player who landed the most hits wins. Similar to Sword Fight, this is one where I would just have more fun fake boxing with a friend. Plus, there are other games with a similar structure where you need to do something fast, and this is definitely the worst. This is a single-player game where you put the IR camera near your mouth and open and close your mouth as fast as you can to eat sandwiches. Eat as many sandwiches as you can in 10 seconds. Although this is a really neat feature of the IR camera, which doesn't get used too often, as a game, it's a bit bland. There's no real way to win, it's just go as fast as you can. Sure, you can try to beat your personal record, but there just isn't much here. I mean, like, you could make this a 2-player game where the first player goes, you pass to the second player, and then they try to beat your score. Maybe keep the number hidden until the end so a winner could be declared. That would have made this game a lot more fun, but as it is, it's just a tad too simple and too small to be fun. Both players will run as fast as they can to a beach flag. Once you make it to the beach flag, your Joy-Con will vibrate. The player who lifts the beach flag in the air first wins. Another fun one that's just too simple. You're just running in place as fast as you can. And realistically speaking, you just need to shake the Joy-Con the fastest to win, but it also makes for a pretty short game that's over before you know it. Like Boxing Gym, this is a game where you're given a command and the player who does it the fastest gets a point. Player with the most points at the end wins, etc. Here you're given a signal flag that you move up, down, left, or right. A woman will give you a command of where to move the flag, and you'll do it as fast as you can. However, a man will also give you commands, and you want to do the opposite of what he says. So if he says put the flag up, you put it down. This does make it more difficult and engaging, which is why I prefer it over something like Boxing Gym. It's simple and short like most of the games we've covered so far, but it's still pretty fun. I had no idea what to expect when going into Gorilla, so it was kind of a letdown to find out it's just a simple rhythm game where you beat your chest to the rhythm you're given. Is it the worst rhythm game I've ever played? No. I appreciate the actual rhythms being given, not being super basic. I could potentially see someone struggling with these, but I had more fun making silly gorilla noises while playing this game than I did actually playing the game. After all these high energy games, let's take a look at some calmer ones. Here you'll be given a yoga pose and you just have to hold still. The player that moves the most loses. Obviously your goal is just to stand still and you could just sit your Joy-Con down to win, but I believe it's a game that is made more fun simply because you're battling against someone. Plus I like how afterwards it shows your movement patterns. Here, you're cracking a safe by rotating your Joy-Con. If you feel a vibration, hold it there to unlock part of the safe. The first player to do this 3 times wins. I do appreciate how small the vibration is, making the game a bit harder. You do need to search for the vibrations. It is also fun to race to beat your opponent by finding it first. It's a better race than Beach Flag at least. You milk a cow by squeezing and pulling on your Joy-Con. One of the weirder games, but what you call weird, I call personality. The concept of seeing which player can get the most cups of milk from a cow is hilarious. Realistically, the gameplay is super simple and repetitive, so I couldn't put it too high. If anything, I like this game more for the visuals than the gameplay, but I still really like this one. I've been describing a lot of these games as simple, but here is what I would say is the most complicated game. Both players will roll dice without seeing what it is. Your Joy-Con will vibrate a number of times, telling you what your opponent rolled. The player who has the highest number wins, so if you feel a lot of vibrations, you could tell your opponent they rolled a small number to get them to re-roll their dice. So there is deception at play. You could lie to get them to re-roll, or you could be genuinely honest and make them think you're lying. Oh, and if you roll doubles, you'll get extra points. So if you feel 4 vibrations, do they have a 3 and a 1, or do they have double 2s, meaning they'll get 8 points instead? It's a strategic yet simple game, which I think can be fun. It's not a personal favorite, but I enjoyed this game a lot. Your Joy-Con is a box with a certain number of balls inside. Tilt the Joy-Con and feel the movement to guess the number of balls. This is probably the coolest use of the HD rumble I have ever seen. It's not the most realistic thing in the world, but you can actually feel the balls roll from one side to the other. As cool as that is, similar to eating contest, it's a neat feature in a bland game. I mean, the highlight of this game is more of a highlight with the Joy-Con itself. As for the game itself, you're just doing counting, which is kinda boring. While the rumbling of the balls makes this a memorable game, it just isn't a favorite of mine. You have a beard and your Joy-Con is an electric razor. Your goal is to shave all the hair off your face before your opponent to win. This is another race to beat your opponent game, or at least get more hair off than them. As fun as it is to fake shave, one thing I do appreciate is the fact that you can't see the hair you've shaved off, making it a lot more difficult. There are also sound cues and vibrations to let you know when you're cutting hair, so you aren't just going in blind. There's a bit of challenge to this one, although the controls for shaving may just be part of the challenge, but I had fun with it. Like I said earlier, I don't know what the general consensus is for these games, but if anything on this list feels like an unpopular opinion, it would be this one. The only other single player game besides Eating Contest, you cradle and rock a crying baby until it falls asleep. Once it does, set it down gently to win. This is also the only game where it's recommended to play in handheld mode, but it works in TV mode too. You only get to use one Joy-Con though. I know it's super simple, but I think this is the minigame I played the most. I kept replaying it trying to get the baby to fall asleep faster and faster. I even ended up singing to the baby while I was rocking it, which is how you know I was immersed. I originally had this one up way higher, but then I had a realization. For a game that requires 2 people to even start the game, it's weird to include single player games here. I mean, if you're playing the game, you're probably playing with someone. So when you play this game, the other person's probably just gonna sit there being quiet watching as you quietly rock an annoying baby. Like Eating Contest, I wish there was a competitive aspect. Maybe see who can settle the baby down the fastest? Or heck, if you can use one Joy-Con to settle the baby, why not give one Joy-Con to one person, the other to the other person, and then both have a race to see who can put their baby to sleep the fastest? Something like that would have made the game just a lot more fun to me, but I still liked this one, probably more than the average person. Your Joy-Con is a treasure chest wrapped in a chain. Unwrap it the fastest to win. It's pretty simple and pretty short. Usually takes 30 seconds to unwrap the chest, and the game is nice enough to highlight the parts of the chain, so you shouldn't accidentally be wrapping up the chest. So it's easy, short, and simple. Despite all that though, it was still fun. It was a race to beat your opponent, and it serves as a better race than Beach Flag was. You'll rock out to some music while playing air guitar, getting points for your rhythm and performance. The player with the most points wins. Very similar to Runway and Dance Off in the sense that, yeah, you are just playing air guitar. I mean, you and a friend could just put on music and play air guitar to have fun, but I think the point system adds to it. Because your goal isn't to rock out, it's to rock out harder than your opponent, which I think makes it all the more enjoyable. Although I have it below the 2 games in front of it because this is the one where the way you get points feels kinda random. With your hands on your hips, strut down the runway, swaying your hips as you walk. You do this twice, then you'll walk to the middle and pose. You receive points based on your walk and your poses, and the player with the most points wins. It's a fun game. I mean, it's fun to be silly, so that adds to the fun. It is a game where you're walking back and forth, but I think going against someone with the point system makes it a lot more fun. You pretty much just dance your heart out and freeze when the music stops. Why they didn't just focus the game on the freezing aspect and call it freeze dance, I don't know. Obviously, like Runway and air guitar, you could just put on some music and have a dance off with a friend, but I think the point system makes it a much more fun game than something like Sword Fight. Plus, I think the point system works the best in this game. If you give it your all, you'll have a blast. Probably the longest game on here. One player is the pitcher who can throw either a fastball or a changeup, and the other player is the batter who wants to hit the ball to achieve points. This is a really fun one. Even though there obviously isn't a ball, the batter can tell when a ball is coming based on timing, so it becomes very strategic for the pitcher to decide which type of pitch to serve. In fact, out of all the baseball games I've played, this may be the best pitching controls I've seen. It's so simple, yet strategic with how you serve a ball. And of course, batting is fun too. I'm not too sure how the game determines what's a home run and what's getting caught by someone, which is probably the biggest flaw I have with the game. I'd rather play Wii Sports Baseball. I'm also glad it's just 1 inning because even 3 innings would have made this game feel too long. I also do find it funny how in this hypothetical baseball game, both teams went 8 innings without getting any points. But yeah, this is a fun one. The only minigame I think works with more than 2 people. You shake a bottle of soda, then pass it to the next person. It's sort of a hot potato thing because the soda will eventually burst, and you do not want to be the person it bursts on, or else you lose. The Joy-Con will even vibrate depending on how close it is to bursting. This one can be somewhat stressful but really fun, especially since it's up to you on how much you shake it, if you do at all, and when you pass it. If I was going to play any of these games at a party, it would be this one. Both players will sit the Joy-Con down and need to pick them up when they ring. There may also be a fake ring to trick you, so you have to be careful about that. You also have to say hello when you answer, which I've never understood. I mean, I know the Joy-Cons don't have a microphone, but the game keeps reminding you to say hello when you answer. What happens if I say, "Hi there," or "What's up, Mom?" While I do think this game is a bit similar to a game we'll be looking at later, I still enjoy this one a lot. It's all about fast reflexes, making it really fun to try and beat your opponent. Way better than Sword Fight. One player has a sword and will try to hit the other player on the head. The other player needs to catch the sword by clapping their hands. If the player successfully catches the sword, they're given the sword and the other player will have to catch it. This continues until someone gets hit. This was so fun, especially duking out the other player with the sword by pretending to swing to get them to mess up. Definitely one of my favorites. You know that battle between Harry Potter and Voldemort? That's this game. Your Joy-Con is a wand. Spin to charge your wand and then thrust magic at your opponent. You can keep thrusting magic at them to overtake them. You can even thrust back at them to counter. But thrusting will leave you open, so don't thrust too much. I'm saying thrust too much. It's a super fun one to play. I mean, it's a wizard battle with magic spells. Of course it's fun. Here, you'll do some poses, and the other player will copy them. Then you'll switch, so you'll have to repeat the poses of the other player. The player who copied the best wins. Like the other dance music games, you could theoretically just put some music on and copy each other's dance moves. But I believe the point system adds to the experience by making it more engaging as you try to beat your opponent. Putting your full energy into the poses. That, and it's just a fun game, guys. Hold your gun to your side and fire when the game tells you to. The first player to shoot wins. It's a more fun version of telephone, super simple to understand but really fun. I also like how you have to aim towards their chest, otherwise you'll shoot the dirt. It's extremely simple though, which is why I prefer its other mode. Fake draw is quick draw, but instead of immediately yelling fire, the game will fake you out by yelling words that start with F, like fork or fish. Although game, file is too similar sounding of a word to fire for this game. That is so not fair. Anyway, I find that I prefer this mode. Still about fast reflexes, but also listening so you don't react too frantically. This one is fantastic fun, for real. In plate spin, you'll rotate your Joy-Con to spin your plate. Once your plate is steady, it's all about balance. Whoever's plate stays up the longest wins, so it's mainly about endurance. The detail that makes this game so fun is that the game encourages you to mess with other players so that they screw up. So trying to slowly walk over to the other player to knock over their plate while balancing your own makes this one incredibly fun. Messing with people is fun, what can I say? I've played this game with my sister where I would throw a pillow at her to make her mess up and she would kick me. So that's how serious of a game this is. Our number 2 game. You'll sit the Joy-Cons down on a flat surface and your goal is to rotate them as much as you can. For each degree you rotate, it gets added to your total score. However, you have to be delicate when rotating, as it moving, shaking, or tilting too much will reset your score to 0, giving you no points. After 3 turns, the player who rotated the most and has the most points wins. This is such a great game. Because you're going against someone, you have a choice to make. Do you rotate it more but risk getting a 0 if you mess up? Or do you stay content with what you have and stop? I should also add the game makes sounds to let you know when you're moving it too much, so too many of those noises and you've moved too much. The feeling when you haven't even picked it up yet and it's already making noises, this game's so fun. This is my favorite game in 1-2 Switch. It's table tennis, as you would expect. Use your imagination to imagine a ball and you hit the ball back and forth. It's mostly about timing when you hit the ball and you can use the sounds to let you know when to hit. I just find this one to be the most fun. I mean, it's ping pong where you can't really miss unless you swing too early or too late. So like ping pong, it's fun to get high rallies. It's also really fun if you go all in with it, doing dives for the ball or tricks. I know this might be a weird one to put as first, but this is my favorite game in 1-2 Switch. So what did you think? Tell me in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, I know, barely anyone has this game, waste of money, yada yada. Here's the thing though. Do I recommend this game? No, absolutely not. The fun that I had is not worth $50. But there definitely is some fun here. So if you can rent this game or you go to a friend's house and they own it, give it a try. See what you think. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, no matter how weird you are, you'll never be as weird as a guy with a pineapple puppy. Yep, I just finished the 1-2 Switch video. I know a lot of people don't like this game, but you know, I had fun with it.
So does that mean you're gonna play the sequel?
Oh, no, absolutely not, no, absolutely not, no way, no.